So I can't stress enough the importance when you're gardening of doing a daily walkthrough of your plants. You can do this before you go to work, you can do this after you come home as a nice way to relax and wind down. I like doing it when I come home from work. Right now I'm working the end of the day for a couple hours, so I have off until then. It's pretty fantastic. I can get a lot of stuff done, like these videos, sharing this knowledge to the world. So yeah, we're going to go on a little walkthrough, inspect the plants for our daily walkthrough. So these are my onions. They look pretty good. They're a little pale, but they're nice dark green. There's a pineapple. This has been growing for over a year now. You just take the top of the pineapple off and pretty much get it to root, pop it in the ground, and it's good. There's videos on how to do that. I might make one. There's the other pineapple I planted. That one is not doing much at all. I think it just hasn't found good nutrients yet, but it should. Looks like it's getting a little bigger. I don't know. Okay, we got sunflowers that are planted near my potatoes. They all pretty much washed down the mound, but they are forming and growing. The potatoes are yellowing. I have heard this is a sign of overwatering, but I don't water these. The thing that I think people say that it's overwatering is because you're washing out the minerals, you're eroding your soil. But with the soil, I know that I'm not eroding it. So maybe instead of an overwatering issue, this is a under nutrient condition. So I might want to throw some P on here to give back some more nitrates and stuff. Usually when my plants yellow out like this, and I do that, they turn back and get a nice dark green again. So I'll probably do that. Once they yellow out like this, you'll see down in there, like the bugs are attacking it. It's not too bad. Last year they wiped out my potatoes. It was crazy. So I might want to think about spraying these with some Dr. Bronner's, or putting down some diatomaceous earth on the leaves and adding some, urine fertilizer. Alright, my onion tower, this was an experiment to see what grows better in the tower like that, in composting mulch, or like that, the conventional way. I think that's doing better. But I did cheat a little bit. I'm using lithic mulching over there. But these are looking pretty good. Most of them didn't make it, and all of those did make it. The ones that did make it over here are doing just as well, but I did lose some. So there's that. This is a broccoli plant. I was also experimenting with planting things around a composting tower, and you pour the urine fertilizer in the top, or any fertilizer that you want to use, pour it in the top of this, water in this tower, and then it goes down, and it acts as a tank, like a water collection tank, and it slowly drips out and feeds your plants. And it didn't work for this broccoli. I had some tomatoes over here last year. The only one that survived was the one that was right next to this. The rest of them got ate up real bad by caterpillars and stuff. Here's another broccoli plant that it didn't make it, and that's how far away it is. So if you're going to do this, you'll do it bigger. These are my asparaguses. We got a new sprout there. I'm not going to eat these this year, but they are perennial. They come back every year. They look like they're doing fantastic. To start these, I did them in, I put the roots in a compost tea with the base as urine. I threw some compost in there, let it heat up in the sun, and turned it into a tea. And I put the roots in there and then buried them, planted them. My okras aren't doing so hot, especially the ones over here. I have some in the cedar like this. They're doing great. I'm using these as a comparison. These I planted in the cedar after the ones that I put in my garden. So the ones in my garden should be doing better. But the thing is, over here, the insects have to go across all this hot concrete, so they don't. It's very abrasive. They don't like it. It cuts them up. And in here you can see that one is doing the best. There's one over here. That one, they took all the leaves off of it. So that one might make it. It still has a little leaf on there. My hot peppers, I need to plant them. So these I bought from the store because I noticed whenever I do them in cedars and plant them, they don't grow up so big. There's one. That's not, there's one in there. They're not doing so great. They take forever. I don't know why they take forever. They shouldn't. It might just be that hot peppers grow really slowly. So I'll probably just keep doing this, and if I do seed them, I'll start them indoors much earlier. So we're walking through here, checking out the beans. Camouflaged in the sunflowers. They seem to be doing good. They're a little yellow. You might want to think about, adding some fertilizer on there. They're not getting eaten up by any bugs. Too bad. Here we have the effectiveness of the sunflowers. This is the sunflower, and it's getting chewed up by bugs. And right next to it is the bean plant, untouched. Maybe a little bit down there, but that's no big deal. Most of that plant is here and alive and good and thriving, and it's gonna make it. And my camouflage plant worked. Outstanding. So those are things that you're going to be looking for. So I am having a rising bug issue now that it's getting hotter and raining less. Here we have bugs are getting at that. I'm not going for the camouflage plants, but that might be because that one is a little bit out in the open. Possibly. It's not too bad though. I expect these losses when you're organic gardening. You expect, things like this to happen. You just gotta do your best to keep it under control. But, your plants will produce something. You have to plant more plants. Why is this folded over? These are things you look for. Why are your leaves folding over? Sometimes you'll get creatures in there. There's a little, thread. A creature will go in there and actually make a nest. Is he in there? Yeah. See, there we have a problem. These guys are the ones that destroyed my tomatoes and my potatoes. They're little caterpillars, and they'll fold over these leaves and turn it into a cocoon around themselves. So that's a problem. We don't want them to get out of control. So that's what I need the diatomaceous earth for in general. So you can see there he fed before he made his little cocoon. I don't want that. Good morning. These are my blueberries. They're doing fantastic. I'm not happy with this plant. It's bad. It's not bad, like evil or anything, but it doesn't want to produce blueberries. And I have definitely fed it a lot of food, but that's the only blueberries I got off of this plant. And it's bigger, it has more leaves. It should give me more blueberries than just that. There's one other bunch over there. So I don't know if maybe you guys know how to get it to give me more blueberries. I know you're supposed to, clip it and stuff and keep it so that the sunlight can get through there. But I took a lesson from the Japanese with their bonsai trees, and I actually pulled apart all of the stems here and tied them down to stakes in the ground, so that instead of clipping off of the plant, I gave all of the plant, more ventilation per leaf, more sunlight per leaf, instead of clipping off parts, because I want these to grow up big and healthy. I'm not necessarily concerned right now to get blueberries off of them. It's nice. I eat them as they ripen and whatnot. But I want these to grow up big and strong. My idea originally was to use blueberries as edging, make a little edible fence along my property, which would be cool. They're expensive, and I'm trying to think of a way that I can plant them with clippings. I know there's a way you can do it with rose bushes and stick them in potatoes. I'm experimenting with my clippings to try and do that. Planted some corn in here to see, will they grow with all the shade around them? Is that good? Is it going to protect them from, wind and stuff? Because we have pretty harsh storms. So that's an experiment. I have a little pea on there, to see if it'll climb. I'm trying to get my peas to climb on my bushes. That would be ideal. Bushes make excellent trellises. If I could get peas to climb on bushes, that would be great. I haven't gotten that yet they usually, last year they didn't get that big. So let's check out that pea. How's that pea doing? This one's doing great. It's definitely climbing. It's looking for more things to climb onto. Hopefully it figures out there's a big bush over here and it goes for it. But it does like climbing up some corn, so that's good. That's why you do your daily checks, you know. Make sure your plants aren't dying, number one, and number two, see how they're doing. You know, what is working, what isn't working. Analysis. This is the blueberry bush that is providing a lot. All kinds of blueberries over there, but you can see it's a smaller bush. There's definitely less foliage. So I don't know why that's happening. My mint is doing great. You know, it's exploding. I wish it would grow in the center area. I'm trying to get it to grow in there. I don't know why it's not. It's only hovering around the outside. It definitely took over this planter. These are dollar weed. This is a weed. People consider it a weed, but it is edible, and it tastes pretty good. It's kind of like a citrusy, piney taste. It's full of vitamins, and people are trying to kill this. They're spending all kinds of money on herbicides trying to kill this. But it's absolutely edible and good for you. Pay all this money for organic greens in the store, and there they are. You're trying to kill them in your yard. So I did this. This whole area is like leafy greens, kales, and mustard leaf and stuff. That's all the stuff that's in this area. Let's see how that's doing. I just bought these and planted them. They're doing fine. Got a little bit of insect damage there. That's Dean in the background getting some stuff out of the truck. This is pak choi. They were in pretty rough shape at the store when I bought them. We'll see if they come back. It was only $3 for 6 of them, so hopefully they do. I haven't had much success with lettuce down here. It's very warm, even with this mulch and all the water that they can get. I think the leaves are too delicate to survive the heat and the moisture. I think they basically get moldy and then, you know, turn into dirt like the next day. Maybe I can find one of those. So I replanted that. I had a bunch of kale plants randomly scattered because I was trying to figure out where they would grow best. And then these kales did wonderful up here. These are doing great. These are like color changing kale. So they did great up here. So I decided to make this my kale area. They're very hardy plants, very full of nutrients. So again, I took these from elsewhere a couple days ago and planted them in here. They're not doing so hot yet. You know, their roots have to come back and find the nutrients and water. But once they do, they generally pop up and go great again, like this. You know, the big leaves will fall off, but you want to keep them on there. The plant's going to take from those leaves. They'll fall off and it'll sprout new leaves and keep going. Very hardy plant. The mustard is not so happy. It wasn't happy when I planted it in the first place, so I feel like it's going to come back. Where it was at, it was too dry and bugs were eating the crap out of them, out of the leaves. So we do have, see, this is what I'm talking about. These bigger leaves will like dry out and fall off and become compost, but you'll get new leaves that sprout up through the middle, like this one. So this plant is coming back, so it's good. After I replanted it, I'll have this plant again. These are wonderful. It's very spicy, especially if it's in a good soil. You get extra quality flavor out of it. So this is analysis of that. They are coming back. Bok choy. This isn't bok choy. What is this? Chard. I didn't like the flavor of it. It was really bitter and gross. I feel like if I put it in better soil over here than where it was. I kind of used it as ornamental over there, and it wasn't doing so great. It was too dry in that spot for this. So this is a more moist area, more nutrients. I feel like, you know, it's going to be in the same order as the kale. It should come back, but the bugs were attacking the crap out of this, which told me that it was too dry. You can see there, this leaf is just shredded. It keeps coming back and putting up new sprouts, but as soon as they come up and become something, bugs eat them. So maybe it'll do better here. Hopefully it does. Rhubarb is doing fantastic. We have some holes. A couple of holes there. Not a big deal. we have this big, beautiful leaf that's taken in all kinds of solar rays. This garlic is doing fantastic. This is garlic. You can eat 100% of this plant. It doesn't make big cloves, at least I haven't noticed. But instead, clip this off and you can use that to eat. These flowers are tremendously spicy, garlic flavor. You can eat the flowers too. I like to keep them out, you know, to let bees, but it adds a nice color to a dish. And it tastes good, really good. These were an experiment. I didn't have anywhere to put them. Just a bunch of like squashes and cucumbers, those kind of plants that spread. This is a relatively new patch. It's not soiled yet. I have inoculated it. Let's see how that's doing, because I haven't in a bit. Pull this back and look at it. It's starting to go. It's turning black. It's nice and moist under there. I haven't watered it. Got some creatures in there. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see those little white dots. That's the mold that's growing. Underneath of this is some leaves. They're going to take a bit to break down, but if you keep them sealed off and inoculated, they'll go much quicker. You know, the worms underneath will be protected, and they'll be able to chew at them a lot faster than if you didn't do this. A good way to turn your leaves into mulch very quickly is to inoculate them and then water it and cover it up with plastic, black plastic. I'm not a fan of using plastic. Cheap plastics release BPAs, which mimics estrogen, and it's really messing up society. This is a pumpkin, I believe, and it is not doing hot. Oh, there we go. That guy is going to destroy this plant. That's a slug. He's going to get it. It looks like he was tearing up the stem. The stem is very weak, but for some reason, somehow it's still providing nutrients to that. It's flowering and going to make a fruit. I don't know. I don't think it's going to make it. This is another experimental thing to see if I can grow something in this new bed yet. Because this is so new, I don't expect it to. If it does, that's great. But especially out here where it's all dry, I had a raspberry in that pile that's knocked down, and then beyond that is a blackberry, which the only thing that's coming back out of those two is the blackberry. The raspberry completely dried up, and I did it in a compost mulch tower, and I think it wasn't ready. It didn't really break down. So because I died, I took the opportunity to analyze it and pull it apart, and this is what was inside the tower. Somehow sand travels upwards. I think that's the worms carrying it in their gut. But yeah, you do get sand. The worms actually till your soil. They mix it around, is what I've noticed. They take stuff from down below and bring it up, and stuff from the top and bring it down. And, you know, distribute their castings and stuff. So that happens. That's a good, you know, lesson from this experiment. Got some moldy spores here. That's good. We like that. You know, molds are our friends. We try to keep them around. These are sunflower seeds that I scattered over here. They're not doing so hot. You know, this is my indicator that the soil isn't as ready as the other ones, not being kept as moist. We probably don't have creatures as much as in the other ones. There's more mold growing, that's good. More mold. That might be poop. I think an animal is pooping in here, which is good. I appreciate that. I think it's my neighbor's cat using this as a litter box, and it's good. It's going to inoculate the soil with some stuff. Nice cat too. I'm not a huge fan of cats, but I like that one. So here's my blackberry, and it's coming back. I thought it died, and it didn't. So we'll see what comes back out of here. Some of these clippings, when I was pruning my blackberry bush, I just shoved them back in the side, and they rooted, and they started growing again. That, I think, is an original one. But down here, I just noticed this one yesterday during my walkthrough. This is turning green again, so it's still alive in there. It just has to come out and make up its mind what it's doing. This is another edible weed. This is sorrel. It has a very like a lemony, sour, tangy taste to it. These are the little flower buds on there. This is not clover. It's called sorrel, and it's really good. Excellent. If you're out here and you're hungry, snack on it. It's edible. Sunflowers and oh, see, there's some poop. Yeah, something's pooping in here. So, sunflowers and beans. The sunflowers aren't doing so hot over here, but the beans are. This patch of grass wasn't doing so great. It exploded like all of that grass, but then for some reason died off. I'm thinking it's the pine tree that's near here, or it just doesn't get reached by water and the sun bakes it. If you look up above us, there's a big expanse of sky and the sun goes right across there. So I think this area gets too much sun and it bakes the soil. That's why I threw some wood chips over the top here to kind of keep moisture localized to the roots of the bits of grass that I have so it'll come back. And it does work. Over there was the same situation right in here. It was all just the same sun-baked earth, like my neighbors over there. You can see it's all it's just dirt. This side over here, and it's better than it was. This was all desert, and so was this. After I put this in, it holds moisture and it feeds the grass with nutrients and moisture, so it did come back. So that's what I'm hoping to do over here, why I did these planters and stuff. Let's check out my thyme. I'm gonna lose some of these. These were all dried out at Lowe's. These dried up looking thymes on the clearance rack. Don't be afraid to check out the clearance rack. It's super cheap. It was like 30 cents for each one of these, and usually you're gonna pay a couple bucks for one of them. I think these were $3 a piece, and I got these at the hardware store. I paid full price. I wanted some good healthy thyme. I'm not having some luck with it. It all dries out. I think this one is making a comeback right there. If it does, it's fine. It'll use this dead material as mulch, and it'll come back. This one also kind of looks like it's coming back right there. Maybe a little bit. It's just hanging on there. It's probably draining back into the roots and then growing that. So hopefully I get that back. That would be nice. This one looks like it's definitely dying. I don't think there's any green left in there. It might re-root from the bottom. Hopefully. It might come back. It was only 30 cents. I'm not worried. Oh, piglet. Kiwi over there. Oh, Kiwi and Mr. Wiggles. Piggies! He likes to scratch. They love scratching. It's their favorite. Continuing on the walk. Alright, same deal. This is a sweet potato left over from last Thanksgiving. It was just sitting in the closet. It wasn't doing anything. I was like, hey, maybe I can plant it. So I just put the whole thing in water and it rooted and then put it in the ground. You can see, that's it. I just put the roots down there and let the green stuff come up. I might cover that with more mulch, to give it more water, and then it'll explode. That was my first one to sprout and actually start doing something. That's probably a month old, so that's doing healthy. Nothing is attacking it really. That's good. Maybe I'll have more sweet potatoes. My goal with them is to cover this whole fence in sweet potatoes. It's in the morning glory family, so it'll have beautiful flowering trumpet vines. Same thing over here. We're getting some leaves on this sweet potato. Same deal. Hopefully it goes. It's the same thing. Let's check out the corns. Where are the corns at? They're hiding. This one's not doing so hot. Probably needs to grow its roots a little bigger and find some nutrients. When you replant them in this mulch, it's going to take a bit. They're going to look like absolute crap at first until they find their nutrients. And hopefully they do. Sometimes they don't and they just dry up and die. But, organic gardening, that's what you do. Again, this soil is very new. I didn't expect this to work as well as it is. This corn's doing well. Not the best. It's a little dry. but it is protected from these other sunflowers and whatnot around it. So it should make a comeback. This corn's doing great. Fantastic. I'm happy with these ones over here. We have some peas climbing up the corn stalk. They're figuring out what they're supposed to do. So hopefully that'll protect the corn. I have a theory too that the peas will kind of tether the corn stalks in place. We get really strong storms down here, and you'll spend all this time growing your corn. It'll be a nice big stalk, and you'll be about to get it, and then a storm will come and knock it all down. I think the peas might actually, hold it in place instead of knocking it down. There's more corn. That was doing great. Outstanding. All this looks good. Here's a flower bud. I'm getting a flower bud on there. Looks like that one's budding too. The bugs are attacking those instead of the corn, so that's good. It's doing its job. This corn's not doing so hot like that other one down there. I might hit it with some fertilizer, possibly. The basil's doing great. Outstanding. This one, this is a leftover from last year. It made it, and it's coming back perennially. I wish it would make another sprout down there. That's why I'm not cutting this off. I could clip it and do some kind of rooting hormone dealy and then replant it, but it has roots down there that are working, and it should throw up other sprouts, other stems. I don't see any. Maybe it'll grow some new ones. Hopefully it does. But I bought that one in Walmart, actually. My least favorite store. And those like little pots that you can buy with the herbs, and it actually grew up. These two, that one worked, but I'm not really impressed with their products. I don't want to give them my money. So I went to the store where I got the thyme, the True Value down the street, and I bought some basil to go with that and put that in there. I tried black basil. It didn't work. I don't know why. They were kind of sickly when I bought them at Lowe's. Yeah, so that happened. And I had like a Thai basil, and that one also, same story. It was kind of sickly, and then it just went. It was no good. But this one, at the local hardware store, these are doing great. And I'm okay with that. I would like a variety, but this works. Any basil is better than no basil. That corn's doing great. Sunflowers are doing fantastic. This is something that's weird that I might want to investigate. So this is a weed. For some reason, it's all curled up like that. I don't know, maybe, like we talked about earlier, maybe there's a little cocoons in there. Maybe these are becoming cocoons. Let's see if I can open this up and investigate. Might just be a weird plant. That looks like a little ladybug in there. It is a little ladybug, I think. Yeah, little ladybug beetle, I think. Certainly acts like one. And it's gone. Ladybugs are good. They eat, pesky things. I think this weed is edible. I'm not the expert on this one. So if I don't know, I'm not going to eat it, but I'm pretty sure it is. Your weeds are... I'll do a separate video on weeds and how beneficial they are and why you shouldn't throw them out. But if you do want to throw them out, if you don't like them, like maybe this one is taking too much from my corn, this is how easy it is when you're mulching. Yeah, this is why I think